Isekai anime typically get a bad rap, and rightfully so. A lot of them are so uninspiring and uncreative, and just rely on hot girls with little to no clothing to attract an audience. But every once in a while, this genre gives birth to something incredible. And ladies and gentlemen, today we have one of those instances because Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation is the isekai that we've all been waiting for. Mushoku Tensei is about a 34-year-old NEET who was kicked out of his house by his family, partially for his just abhorrent lifestyle, but mainly because he missed his own parents' funeral to go and stay inside and whack his shit. After getting completely leveled by Truck-kun while trying to save some high schoolers, he wakes up in the body of a baby boy in a whole other world named Brutus, the son of two ex-adventurers. Part 1 of this anime, which is what I'm going to be focusing on today, focuses on his physical growth along with the basic world development required for a story like this. However, it does also spend a considerable amount of time introducing characters and showing off their respective strengths and weaknesses. Essentially, this is all the setup for what is to come, aka the real Mushoku Tensei. Now, there are a lot of things that separate this anime from all the other ones out there, and one of those things is the characters. Brutus, in every sense, is a 34-year-old NEET trapped inside the body of a baby boy. He is still as much of a degenerate as he was beforehand. He is still a piece of shit, basically. But he also carries with him the trauma and memories that he had while he was a NEET. And alongside him, other characters like his parents and Roxy all carry with them a history, and it's made very clear from the get-go that these are all their own unique individuals with their own mysteries, their own motives, and their own struggles. It's made very clear that these are all fully developed characters, basically. Now, I should clarify that this story does not only cover him as a baby boy. In fact, it covers most of his adolescence. And only the first episode or two are really him as a baby. So this series covers a lot of time, basically. It covers a large chunk of his early life, and yet somehow it doesn't feel rushed. Surprisingly, it's able to cover all of this time without feeling like it's rushing anything. And while, yeah, it does jump from time to time, I never feel like I'm just reading a summary of what's happening. Typically, he'll just be like, I'm now able to walk on 2 feet just fine. And they'll just continue on from there like a normal story. And it's honestly pretty cool. It's the first time I've ever seen that in an anime. The last thing that I want to talk about for the positives is just how beautiful this world is. This anime truly showcased how gorgeous and how truly beautiful this world is. From the openings, where each one was just an individual set of pictures or short clips that you got to see the world in, to just everything else. The magic, the landscape, it's just gorgeous. It truly is gorgeous. Even the small details inside every house. I was reading up on this. They studied ancient medieval houses and what was inside of them to make them all look like they should look, and it truly is it makes a huge difference. Well, you probably don't process it right away. Having all that extra, I don't really want to say clutter, but all those extra things there, it just adds that much extra to the series. Seriously, it is gorgeous. It truly is gorgeous, and it makes me so excited to see where we get taken in part 2. Now, I certainly love this series, but as I always say, nothing is perfect and everything has their flaws. And this one certainly does have some flaws. For starters, it has a lot of lewdness, a lot of lewd innuendos, and a lot of ecchi scenes. Well, I guess I wouldn't say a lot because there are some anime out there that are literally all just butt booty ass naked women and shit like that. This one's a little bit more tasteful. If you could say that, I guess. Some viewers might be put off by this. Personally, I didn't mind seeing, like a stay-at-home teacher fondling herself to, while the parents rock the whole house, or Brutus praying to a pair of panties that he stole. It wasn't too bad, honestly. It really wasn't that bad, but I can see why people would be put off by it. Now, this anime tries really hard to show off a realistic depiction of a medieval world, and in doing so, also has a decent amount of molestation. That's another thing that people have a big issue with, and it's something worth talking about. It portrays sexual harassment and all other topics that are related in a bit of a lighter manner, from people using their higher positions to sleep with all their maids and all that stuff, to just straight up fondling some girls and all that. Some people go as far as to call it just a child molestation fantasy. I wouldn't personally go that far. I really wouldn't, but I can definitely see why people are put off by Brutus, who is, yes, he is like an 11-year-old boy at some points, or a 10-year-old. But he's really just like a 30, 35, close to 40s, probably by that point in the anime, year-old man inside the body, touching girls similarly aged to him. It's a little bit interesting. It's certainly a little bit interesting. But personally, I still think that with all these flaws, it doesn't warrant not watching it. It's seriously still absolutely gorgeous. Now, I have also heard people say that it's a lot like a generic isekai, with elves and magic and all that. But the main complaints that I really see are just people complaining about the lewd jokes and the occasional Brutus getting touchy-feely with a girl a third his real age. That's a little bit weird, I would admit. But these complaints are surprisingly far and few between. I mean, it still barters an 8.3 on Mal, which, as I've said beforehand, is a really damn good score. Anything above an 8 is typically a fantastic score, in my opinion. Everything above a 9 is, very few anime have ever touched that point. So an 8 and above, I'd say you're pretty safe there. You're looking at something good. Personally, I think that people do over-exaggerate the amount of lewdness used. I mean, this is nothing compared to those other isekais out there like Harem in the Labyrinth, where it's basically just a dude buying slaves to make his sexy harem. Weird as shit series, but I do think these scenes are used a little bit too much in my opinion, but at the same time though, it doesn't make it unwatchable. I still argue that this is seriously one of the best isekai ever made. I mean, it is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's the medieval setting and everything is just beautiful. Plus the story is great as well. It's just, seriously, it did so many things right. And so it got an 8.3 on Mal, completely deserves it. It clearly did something right. Now, I have personally already watched part 2, and I will be making a video on that in a little bit, so if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe. And I'll give you a little heads up that I'd say part 2 is maybe even better than part 1. So, I'm saying that. But we'll talk about that more another day. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Senpai Supreme, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Peace.
Hello from Sahara Desert. We have heard you are not subscribed to Senpai Supreme. That is very haram. Subscribe now and Allah will gift you 72 kawaii anime women in the afterlife. Goodbye.